Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Nate, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show, and we're doing something a little different today. We have Mr. Issa Williams here. He's a fellow Coppinite. I met him at Coppin State University in the Urban Art and Production Department. Issa's from, because I messed it up earlier, BK.
BK all day.
There we go. Because I said the other one, and I was like, "Ooh, I can't say that in front of him."
You messed that up.
So you're from Brooklyn,
Right.
Brooklyn, New York. He's been in the service. He's a dad. He's recently started his own business, I Will Consulting, Issa Williams Consulting. And we're gonna talk a little bit about who Issa is and bring us up to date with your business and connect everything in between. So first of all, let people know who you are.
My name is Issa.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Issa, and as Nate said, I served some time in the military. Also, I'm a father, and I'm trying my best to be a better Muslim.
Okay. In terms of where you're from, New York, what has growing up in New York, being raised in New York, being thrust into the Baltimore scene, tell us about that journey from New York to Baltimore.
It's definitely. I wouldn't say it was a culture shock.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually refreshing.
Okay.
I guess in the literal sense, it was refreshing because Baltimore and just it seems like anywhere besides New York City has more trees. So
that concrete jungle got a couple more branches to it. But I know you to have a hustling mentality, meaning you were selling and you knew how to connect and meet and mingle and network. So you knew how to make things happen on very little. Tell us about that hustling spirit in you. Where did that come from?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned spirit because really quickly, I do want to give all praise to the Most High because I can say for a fact that everything is because of a higher power. I haven't planned anything that I'm about to share with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
The hustler spirit, I would say, was ingrained in me at a young age because of my father.
Okay.
Since I can remember, my father hustled.
Mm-hmm.
Balloons, T-shirts, you name it.
So he was a salesperson, and I saw that in you, and I was figuring out, you being an artist, where was that going to come into play? And now as an adult, we see the business side of you starting to develop a little bit more. In terms of your foundation at home, first of all, shout out to Mom. I have not forgotten the fried chicken.
Yes.
And my invitation to come back to get more. That one visit wasn't enough. She should have had her own Sylvia's. But what does family mean to you?
And the scripture puts family right after God. And then it even goes further to say that those that believe in right and wrong are extended family.
Okay.
So, when
Our chosen family.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find these people like Nate,
Mm-hmm.
that your paths align and intertwine, then if you could find a way to facilitate that or help it grow, it can turn into something beautiful.
And it really, knowing you from school was a different Issa. That was Issa that was, knucklehead Issa, 20-something-year-old Issa. But I got to venture out into your world and meet you where you are from. And I saw a different Issa. I saw a more polished Issa. I saw a stern Issa. And it was just awesome seeing you in your environment. You were on my grounds, and school was kind of neutral for us, but seeing you in your space with family, with friends was different. It was refreshing. I know me and another mutual friend of ours.
You fit right in too.
Because it was a chicken. The fried chicken was there. But it was enlightening seeing you in that space. So it was just another layer of Issa. Issa is a If you've never met Isa, Isa is a connecting spirit to me. What does Isa mean, first of all?
It's the Arabic word for Jesus.
Okay.
And it means Savior.
Okay. And I see you as that central spirit in amongst your friends, your family. I see that in you. And that was just the glimpses from our connection together. I'm always willing to support and help. He was the barber for a couple semesters when we was kind of low on cash. And just a breath of fresh air, just that energy. Where do you tap into? Where did you find that source? Because I know the smiling face always needs a smiling face at some point. But where do you get that energy from?
I would definitely say family.
Okay.
And then, sometimes our family being human beings too, they get depleted. So that's where spirituality comes in for me, because Allah is an untappable well.
So was your dad Muslim?
Yes.
Okay. So you grew up in this faith, and what was that like?
I believe that Islam did for me what it did for my father and many others, which is it brings structure into our lives.
So how have you tapped into that structure in terms of your growth and your maturity?
It's a reminder. One thing about Islam is we're supposed to pray 5 times a day. That granted, yeah, I believe that one of the reasons that we pray 5 times a day is because there's so many things going on in the world that we need to be reminded.
Is that where your centeredness comes from, in terms of you always? I've never seen you in a bad mood. Well, maybe one time, but I've really never seen you in a bad mood, even when there's a pressure moment happening. I've never seen you kind of break in that moment. Is that your foundation, or where does that energy come from?
Yeah, spirituality is definitely the foundation of that. One thing I would say probably would be being grateful. Sometimes, just like any other human being, I do get upset, and I tend to remember that I have things to be grateful for. So it slows me down, and it helps me temper myself. Just building that foundation. You're the oldest of your siblings. Well, I'm the oldest of my mother's children.
Okay.
My sisters would kill me if I try to get up there in front like I was the oldest. My father actually. So I have 2 older sisters too.
Okay.
One is here in Maryland.
Okay, cool.
And she's the oldest.
Okay.
So that's why I got on the pink and green today because she's an AKA.
Okay.
Shout out to her.
Where did that energy for just that support energy that I see in you all? It's like Isa is the type of person, if you say I want to jump tables for a living, Isa will help you go out and find a table to start you off with. Like, where does that come from?
Well, okay, so like I said, there's 5 of us. I have 2 older sisters.
Okay.
And then I'm my mother's first child. So I was the oldest in the household. Then there's my brother, and I have a younger sister. And if I'm being honest, I would say that out of the 5 of us, I'm probably the least talented.
Isa, I think he just hasn't found it yet, but go ahead.
But I guess that helped me to cultivate a want to help others realize their dreams. I even noticed that in the military when I would run, because we had to run and take tests, like physical tests.
That's why I didn't do it. Go ahead.
I would be excited about a good score. Like if I got a good score on a test and I ran in a fast time, but I would be more excited if I helped someone. After a while, they started to allow me to pace other people on their run. And then the feeling I got from them passing their test sometimes people don't know what they're capable of and where they can go. And
but that's your talent, though. Talent, especially being creative, it's not all about I can sing, I can dance, I can act. You have those talents, but your strong suit is your ability to be able to see where someone is and see where they want to go. That's a talent beyond measure. Most people pretend to be that. We got a lot of gurus online right now in life and in our circles, but many people don't have that eye and don't have that inner eye to be able to connect where you see you. Most people can see where someone is, but we only hear where people want to go. And I see you being somebody who can just look at people for face value without judgment and be able to take them where they want to go. So you just mentioned that you were in the service. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, I would say that it helped me grow as a man.
Mm-hmm.
It built on the foundation that was already laid by my father and other family members.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as integrity, discipline,
Mm-hmm.
there's 7 things. I don't want to say all of them, but my favorite was selfless service.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure everyone knows that when you go to the military, like everyone gets the same haircut, same
Mm-hmm.
clothes, and there's actually something like spiritual about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain sects of religions that do that as well. But when everyone is the same, then we get a chance to really see each other.
Mm-hmm. And it's done by design, but now you're explaining it from an internal aspect. We didn't know that that's more done by design, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done by design because when you're on the battlefield, you got to look inconspicuous. You can't be able to tell one from another, but it's done by design because it probably gives you all a connection with each other. Because now I'm connected to you in a different way. We're making these arguments about women having to cut their hair or wear your hair a certain way because a lot of us don't have discipline. So we don't understand what it takes to actually have discipline. You have to apply it at some point. It doesn't just happen to you. But that probably took the discipline you already that was instilled in you, and probably took it to another level. Because now you were applying it forcefully. You know, it was
being applied on me.
Right. But you had to then apply it. As you just said, it wasn't just me learning it from a different perspective, but now you had to apply it because you began to kind of go up in the ranks a little bit in the Army. Tell us about that.
Well, I started out as a private, private first class. So I guess that's like an E3. They have ranks like from 1 to 8. And I made it up to 5, which is a sergeant.
Okay.
And when you make it to sergeant, that's when before that, they put you in charge of other soldiers' practice. But when you make it to sergeant, then you're really responsible for other soldiers' lives.
So and I remember you giving me a little bit of that, telling me where you were, and I was like, you where? Like, what's going on? But knowing that even in that you excelled. So it's about seeing yourself and understanding what your power is. And I'm still waiting for Issa to tap into that. I know this. Like, you know your strength. You may even know your weaknesses, but to know that power, like, you got to really live in and you got to walk in it. And I think you've seen glimpses of it. And I think we've said it enough. His nickname in college was Obama because we just saw you as just a leader. With all, Obama had a stutter, he had a lisp, he wasn't seen as the smartest, even though he was. He had a lot of shortcomings in him becoming where he was, and look where that has gotten him, permanently in history. So I was always waiting for Issa to say, I am a stealth fighter, but I'm happy to see where life is taking you, because now you're not that 20-some-year-old anymore. That's just, it's Tuesday. Let's do this Tuesday, and I just saw that in just the way you dressed, the way you spoke, the way you related to other people. But I think now I'm starting to see just that, and we've been apart for a couple years now. So just seeing your presence is more, it speaks for you louder than what you currently are speaking for yourself. So just know people see it, they feel it in you, they feel it coming off of you. In terms of how you,
Thank you.
So post military, where are you now? Or where were you post? Because it's been a couple years since you've been out.
Yeah, I separated from the military in 2016.
It felt like a divorce.
Yeah, that's what they call it, and it's like, yo, yeah, because you know you don't wear the same clothes anymore. Your hair is different. It's just like a divorce.
Because I've never seen you wear your hair this long before.
Oh right, yeah, I was able to do this now, the beard and stuff. Yeah.
So leaving the military what was the transition like for you? I mean, other than parents and physical, what was mentally? What did you have to change or adapt to?
Yeah, it's definitely a difference in the way things are done in the military because everything is so structured. It's like the only thing as a soldier, there are times where all you have to think about is aim and shoot, and things become so mechanic. It's like, you know, getting out of the military, it's easy to get frustrated, like just because you have to like wait in line for something where you're used to like everything, like next soldier.
Oh wow!
So now it's like when you like, I don't know, it's an adjustment. But I mean, now you know it's been what, like about 5 years now, so I would say that I'm more adjusted now, of course, with the hair and stuff.
But the structure of it, that's not what I know Issa to have. Structure, personality structure, yes. But just that structure in life, Issa never was, oh, okay, we doing this? Okay, let's do this. And it was just not necessarily a go with the flow because you are a leader, but it was, I never saw you waver. It didn't. So to hear that structure got hold of you and that was your transitional struggle is hilarious one. But because that would have never, I would have never said that's Issa's struggle. Not being structured.
I'm sure my family feels that way too.
Like, who are you, sir? You up early. Like, what's going on? You're communicating. What's going on? But in the time since you've been separated from the military, what are some of the things that you've explored or thought about? I know you went back to school.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've done since then?
I should probably say that my journey started in 2015, the year before I left the military.
Okay.
I was about to go to my last duty station in Alaska, and they allow you to spend some time with family first, especially going somewhere that far away. So I went home to spend some time with my family. My brother he put me on to this guy, Dr. Sabi. My brother, the musician, artist, producer, and community activist, Starboy Dollar. He put me on to Dr. Sabi. Dr. Sabi passed away. He's with the ancestors now, but he cured AIDS.
He's a healer.
Right. Right. Exactly. That's the perfect word. And when I started to like dive deeper into it, I was like, wow, this stuff is amazing because at the time I was stressed and I was looking into some psychological things like how to cope with things. And when I studied Dr. Sabi and his food, his diet, I realized the connection between diet and psychology and the mind. And so I just dug deeper into that. That was back in 2015.
Right. That is. I think a lot of people, that's where they start their healing journey because that's the easiest way. What I put in my mouth. You know, even before you deal with your mind, people seem to be physically fit and still broken. But it's saying to you, it's a lot of sense. That's how you enter. Well, most people enter that way. But changing your diet, how has that then helped you? Because you've never been fat. You've been a skinny person this whole life, but it's not about skinny or fat because you can have the reverse happen and one be healthy and the other one not be healthy. But how has changing your diet, what did that one thing do for you?
It saved me from like almost everything I was going through at the time, and even to this day. I don't know. Have you ever heard of the vagus nerve?
No.
I may be saying it wrong because, like I said, my brother is Starboy Dollar. He's Ishmael. He's the smart one. So, yeah, the vagus nerve is a nerve that goes from the stomach to the brain. Okay. And basically, there's some bacteria in your stomach, like healthy bacteria. That's why we like yogurt and stuff.
Help you break stuff down.
Exactly. that bacteria also sends messages to the brain and causes things like anxiety, depression, all type of I don't know, psychiatric, I don't know the word for it, but all type of mental problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're eating can often affect your mind because it starts to, sugar was the big culprit, then carbs, now fat, and then, just food in general that's dead can cause these things to happen to your body. And then our bodies aren't meant to last a million years. So if you then start adding dead products to it,
exactly,
it will speed up whatever aging you already have. So that makes a lot of sense. Dr. Sebi was definitely before his time and of his time at the same time. And I know a lot of people are trying to recapture what he was able to learn in the course of his life. But can't wait to see where you take this in terms of that journey. You recently, in the last couple of years, have started your own business, and Issa Williams Consulting. What is this for? Why?
Well, when I explain to people, I use 3 words: advising, coaching, and mentoring. And we break it down into a 3-part process because it's before decision making, during the decision making process, and what happens after you make a decision.
Okay. Similar to like life coaching, kind of getting them in a space. Is it just about starting a business, or is it getting healthy, or is it what composes of your, or what capsulizes your consulting? What are you helping them with?
Yeah, all of those things. And like I said, I have like a personal experience where I can tell you, like last year, the doctor suggested that I have a surgery to have in February of last year, the doctor suggested that I have surgery to have my appendix removed because it was inflamed. At the time, I wasn't really watching my diet. And my brother, Starboy Dollar, he said that I don't have to have surgery. I can change my diet instead. And that was last year, February. And I still have my appendix. I'm feeling better than ever. And so that's why I can say, like, for a fact that your health is directly connected to not only your physical being, but also your mental state of being.
So when you look back over just who you've been, what are some of the things that kind of stick out to you in terms of what you feel like you're good at?
The word that I learned while in the military is facilitating. So that's something that I enjoy, and that's something that I find myself to be successful at.
What does that mean for you? We know the definition of it, but what does that mean for Issa's life?
To break it down to simple terms is like what you've done today. When you invited me here, you made sure to have a bottle of water. So those little things, most people would call, logistics. There's always someone that makes things happen. Things don't just happen.
Okay, right.
And I find that I'm good at making things happen.
Okay, and that can be many different things, and that's a skill set. So part of what I'm trying to help you with today is realizing, Issa, you are intelligent, you're smart, you're gifted, you're talented. It's just not how everybody else is. And we often are focusing on that lane while trying to get ahead, but we're watching that person win. And we are behind them because we're watching them. What are some things that you've learned about yourself in terms of your growth, becoming a man, being a dad, just growth in general? What have you learned about yourself?
That they call it growing pains for a reason.
If you had to come up with 3 words that describe Issa, what would they be?
The first one that comes to mind is grateful. I would like to consider myself selfless.
Okay.
and faithful.
So if you could speak to your 17-year-old self, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self, and what question would you ask to your 100-year-old self? So what advice to your 17-year-old self, and what question would you ask your 100-year-old self?
I would tell my 17-year-old self to read scripture, the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran, because all of the answers are in there. And then I would ask my 100-year-old self, have you found any answers that weren't in there?
Where can we find Issa Williams Consulting and Issa Williams on social media?
You can follow me on Instagram at Issa_Williams_consulting. And on Facebook, you can just friend me at Issa Williams.
So we're going to come back with another interview with Issa. He's going to give us more insight on what Issa Williams Consulting is and what you can do to help Issa Williams Consulting. This has been another On the Scene with the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Me, Nate. So we'll tune in again. Thank you all, and peace out.